Right. Good day, guys. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. How are you doing? Hope you things are good on your side. It's a beautiful Sunday evening, and just want to continue with episode 8 of our OHS Made Easy. So, thank you for joining me for yet another episode. It's always a pleasure just to come and just talk to you and share with you with different principles and different concepts of occupational health and safety, and hopefully it will benefit you and hopefully it will add value to your career as an occupational health and safety practitioner. Right, for those of us who are joining me for the first time, my vision with OHS Made Easy is simply to share with you different concepts, different principles, tactics, tricks and tips with everything and anything to do with occupational health and safety, so as to enhance your career, so as to make you better and better, and most importantly, to make you a health and safety expert. Because we all can be health and safety experts. And guess what? The world is big enough to have experts. Contrary to popular belief, other people actually think, which is a lie from the pit of hell. If you believe in hell, here is a lie from the pit of hell, that experts are a certain particular group and they should be up there at the top, and then there is everyone else at the bottom who are just looking up. We can all be experts. We can all be good at what we do. We can all be the best at what we do. And that will enhance the whole country and enhance the economy and benefit all of us. So all of us can be experts and all of us can do well. So that's my vision and that's my belief. Right. Last week we talked about an introduction to HIRA, and today I want to build it up. I'm building it up nicely, and I want to talk about safe work procedures, or other people call them standard operating procedures. That's what I want to talk about today. Now, this is what happens. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you have got a forklift driver at your workplace, or you have got a painter. Someone is doing painting at your workplace. Now, this is what happens. The legal requirement with regards to that person, according to Section 8.1 of the Act, says the employer must provide a workplace which is safe and without risk for that what? For that painter. So to provide a workplace which is safe and without risk for that painter, what must be done? A risk assessment. And last week I told you about the risk assessment. And I told you that you must have the activity, have the hazard for the painter, the risk associated with painting. You rank and rate the what? That risk of painting, and then you come up with controls to say that for this painter, for them to do their job safely and well without any issues, what should they do? They should, number one, make sure that there is open. These are the controls in your risk assessments. Number one, the painter must have or do the painting job in a well-ventilated area. Number two, the painter must be trained. Number three, the painter must do induction. Number four, the painter must wear protective clothing. Number five, the painter must do job rotation with other colleagues. Number six, the painter must know and read the MSDS and all and all. So those are 6 controls which you have put in the risk assessment for the painter. Now it doesn't stop there. That's section 8.1 says do the risk assessment. Section 8.2E, 8.2E. The law says, or the health and safety says, let me read it to you verbatimly. The health and safety says it is the duty of the employer to then provide information, instructions, training, and supervision as may be necessary to ensure that the health and safety of the painter or of the workers is 100%. So after providing a workplace which is safe and without risk, and doing the risk assessment, the Act then says the employer also, now that was 8.1, now 8.2E, it says the employer has to give information, instructions to the painter. Now that's the procedure where you give the painter instructions, work instructions on how to do the job. Other places they call them self-work procedures, other places they call them work instructions, in other places they call them standard operating procedures. But section 8.2E then says it is the duty of the employer to provide instruction to that painter. What are the instructions to that painter? You go back to the risk assessment. You get what you listed in your controls. You then translate that into or incorporate it into the safe work procedure. Where you are saying, listen, dear painter, in the execution of your job, these are the 6 things that you must do. Number 1, you must not paint without doing induction. Number 2, you cannot paint without doing training. Number 3, always wear your PPE. Number 4, always make sure the room is well ventilated. Number 5, paint away from yourself and not towards yourself. Number 6, make sure that you do job rotations or exchange with your colleagues. So you have taken the things which you put as controls in your risk assessment and you made it into a document, which is the safe work procedure or standard operating procedure or a work instruction. Then you trained the employee or the painter on it, so that the risk assessment is not just a theoretical thing. It's not just a good on paper. You have made the risk assessment to come alive by training the operator so that they do the controls on the ground. And once they do the things on the ground, the controls which you have on the risk assessment on paper, once now they are done on the ground, now that's health and safety management. And that's a system coming alive. That's how it builds up, or that's the connection between the what? The health and safety, the risk assessment, and the safe work procedure. You take the controls, incorporate them into the what? The procedure, so that the controls are actually done on the ground. In fact, in other companies, certain machinery which is being used or certain equipment which is being, it comes already with a standard operating procedure with instructions on how to use. Still, again, take from the risk assessment, incorporate it, and change it from just being a standard operating procedure to a safe work procedure. That's how it works. Does it make sense, guys? Does it make sense? Please, if it makes sense, like there. If it makes sense, share. If it makes sense, put on the comments. I think of all the 7 or so videos, no one has ever commented, if I'm not mistaken. But just put a comment. It tells me that you are actually getting value from this, and I should actually go on because it's adding value. But if it's all silent, I'll think that maybe no one is watching this and no one is really paying attention. Please just comment so that I get to know that we are together, so that it makes sense. Very, very important. Now, that's the idea of a what? Of a safe work procedure. Not only is it required from Section 8.2e of the Health and Safety Act, but if you go to Section 13 of the Act, it speaks of the duty to inform. Section 13 of the Act. Section 13 of the Act says it's the duty of the employer to make sure that he causes every employee. The Act uses the word cause. The employer must cause every employee to be made aware, to be made conversant of the hazards and risks associated with the job they are doing, and tell them again the precautionary measures which you have taken to make sure that they are able to discharge their duties safely and without risk. That's what Section 13 of the Act says. So Section 13 is basically saying, before an employee or the painter, in this case, does their job of painting, it is your job to cause them to be made conversant, to be aware of the hazards and risks associated with the paint job. So take the risk assessment, tell them that these are the hazards and risks associated with your job, and then you make them aware. But Section 13 says, after that you have made them aware, make them conversant of the what? Precautionary measures you have taken. Then you take the controls and you make them aware. So Section 13 is telling you, is balancing both the risk assessment and the safe work procedure, and bringing it together and tying it up. There is method. I'm telling you guys, you have no clue. There is method and thought put into the Occupational Health and Safety Act. I've had the privilege of seeing different acts, the one from Zim, the one from Botswana, the one from Angola and Kenya as well. But I tell you guys, the one which we have in South Africa It dovetails nicely with different systems. It dovetails nicely with the OHS Act, with the ISO 45000. It dovetails nicely with other regulations. You know, you'll see it. Last week I was doing a training for a client, and I was doing a GMR2 training different engineers and supervisors on their role as GMR2s. General Machinery Regulations 2.1 says organizations must appoint supervisors of machinery. And I noticed as I was going through the GMR regulations how it just dovetails nicely with the OHS Act. It is well thought, well put, and well intact. So that's your safe work procedure. Yeah, three things in closing. Number one, make sure that when you train your safe work procedures, mind your language. If people don't understand English, try to translate. Try to make sure that the safe work procedures are in a language which they understand. So that tomorrow they won't say, no, you did not tell us, or you told us in English and as vangati in a next. We didn't understand as zwanga lutho. Written next kanto. So you have to make sure that your procedures are in a language understood by the people who are going to use it. Number two, you can derive your safe work procedures from different places, from the MSDS, from environmental surveys, from products. There are certain products which come with instructions, like maybe it's a tool or it's machinery. It comes with instructions on how to operate. You can use that to incorporate to come up with your what? With your safe work procedure. And that's just about it. Hope that makes sense. Hope that's in place. What did I miss here? What did I miss? I always try to go through my notes and tell myself that I will teach from the head. And I always try, but I just go back just to make sure that everything is all right. Does it make sense, guys? Hope that makes sense. That's it concerning safe work procedures. If you need any training on any health and safety course, first aid, firefighting, if you want to renew your certificate, give me a shout, drop me a WhatsApp, and I'll be able to help you. We are an accredited training provider. Or if you have any challenges, just give me a shout, and as best as I can, to the best of my ability, we'll be able to assist. Otherwise, thank you for joining us for episode 8. We are going to drop the next one, which is on episode 9 on planned task observations. We're building it up. You'll notice that foundation risk assessment builds up to safe work procedures, builds up to planned task observation, builds up to the training file, builds up, and you'll see that it then becomes a system. After I'm done, I think I'll be at episode 18 or so. You'll see these things, they build up, and they are a chain where one is dependent on the other, or where they have a domino effect. And that's what we then call a health and safety system. When I talk about a health and safety system, it's not just different things all over the place. No, a health and safety system is the risk assessment. Risk assessment, you derive the controls, you use them to create what? Safe work procedure. Safe work procedure, you then implement planned task observations to monitor the safe work procedures if they're being done on the ground. And it builds up and it becomes a chain which you have to make sure that every component of is intact, is properly implemented. Why? Because a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Cheers. Bye-bye. Oh, I'm so enjoying these things. It's nice to do stuff which you know and which you're good at. It's nice.